Welcome to all of my friends from Covenant Presbyterian Church and to friends of the congregation who are joining us for this August 16th worship service. When the coronavirus struck this spring, I decided to use my confinement time to create a memoir for my granddaughter. She's an only child with no first cousins on her father's side, and hence not part of any regular family gatherings where family stories would be told. So I set about telling her her grandfather's story so that she'd have some sense of the history of this family to which she belongs. In doing so, I found myself recounting a story from a senior high conference held at the former Western College for Women in Oxford, Ohio in 1966. Each summer, 150 to 200 senior highs would gather from all over southwestern Ohio for a week ostensibly devoted to spirituality and study. I say ostensibly, because while there was the requisite number of devotional times and study groups, worship, hymn singing, vespers, inspiring talks, there was also the requisite number of behaviors that one would expect from a mixed-gendered group of this age. Now, I had attended the conference all through senior high, and following my second year of college, I went back as a counselor in training. That's what they call somebody who is too old to be a conferee, but not old enough to be part of the real staff. I was allowed to lead lights-out devotions with a small group of senior boys at my end of the dorm floor. But we never got done on time, and my room became a gathering spot for strays from all the other groups as we tackled all of the world of 1966's myriad problems. Every night, the dean would wander in after bed check, note that all of the missing bodies were there in my room, admonish us to please keep it quiet, and then left us alone, as our discussions often went well past midnight. Through this group, I also met a number of females from the boys' home churches, who, hearing about our conversations, joined our discussions from the night before during free time and at dinner hour. In the middle of the week, 20 or 30 conferees had formed their own class, which met whenever and wherever it could. Now, it was some pretty heavy-duty stuff. For while on the outside they were seemingly normal kids from fairly well-to-do, well-educated families, underneath they were a cauldron of confusions. Alcoholic parents, messy divorces, dabbling in drugs and sex, peer pressures, churches tiptoeing around the then tender topics of Vietnam and civil rights. They were hurting, genuinely unsure where faith fit into their insecure world of assassinations, Cold Wars, and riots. By the last day, they were telling each other things that they had not even told their best friends back home, finding here a place of acceptance and understanding unlike anything that they had ever experienced. We took up 3 chapel rows at the closing candlelight communion, even the boys in tears knowing that this would be their last time together. But the tears of the young girl next to me were different. Attractive but not in a homecoming way, she had listened closely in the group but said little. But the little that she did say betrayed a maturity far beyond her years. The reason I had learned the night before walking back with her from Vespers, when she shared how sad she was to be going home. Because home meant dinners with a mother who was usually too drunk to cook, and a father who took out on his family the stress of his high-pressure corporate job, and friends who were only interested in cars and clothes and sexual escapades. Here she had found a sense of belonging and meaning that she had never known. Which is why what happened as we got ready to go forward for communion so surprised me. Our row got up to go, but she just sat there. Sensing something that I could not name, I slipped back into the pew and motioned the rest of our group to go on up, and I sat down next to my new friend. And we just sat there. Finally, I turned and asked her if she was ready to go forward yet. Her response still haunts me. No, I'm not worthy to take communion. What did I, a 20-year-old, know about the theology of communion? What did I, who knew I wasn't worthy, say to her? I mean, I had never seen anybody not go forward. Fortunately, our pastor friend saw our predicament and took over as I went forward, joining the candlelight procession to the Vesper Circle. The pastor and my young friend, deep in conversation, joined the end of the line as it left the chapel. Now, I wish I could tell you that things turned out fine, but I know that they didn't. I ran into her a year later, staying with some college friends from her home church, doing inner-city volunteer work in Dayton. She had run away from home or been kicked out, the details were a little fuzzy, and was angry at God, the church, her teachers, life itself, still looking for a home and a family where she could feel not only loved, but worthy of being loved. I don't know how her life turned out, but I know that I will be forever indebted to her for helping me to realize that while I knew all of the questions that the conferees were trying to find words for, I had not yet discovered the answers which adults know there are no words for. This young girl brought me face to face with the core mystery of communion, that we are able to partake, not because we are worthy, but because of the worth that we have in God's eyes. Now, the technical answer to this is found in W2.0411A of our directory for worship. The invitation to the Lord's Supper is extended to all who are baptized, remembering that the access to the table is not a right conferred upon the worthy, but a privilege given to the undeserving who come in faith, repentance, and love. You see, my young friend was absolutely right and absolutely wrong. She wasn't worthy. None of us ever is. But that's why we take communion, not why we don't. In communion, God answers the question of worthiness with the declaration that we are God's children and therefore we belong at this table. We come to the table not because we are worthy, but because God considers his kingdom incomplete until each of God's children takes their place at the table prepared for us. So I am again remembering my young friend, hoping that somewhere in her journey through life she discovered that her worthiness is not the issue. The question is whether she and we can accept that God was born, lived, died, and was resurrected, that we might know that in God's eyes, each of us is of infinite worth.